This is Marc Lopez. I'm here with Dave Rothenberg. Dave, today's April 1st. Governor Holcomb signed another executive order yesterday clarifying what restaurants are and what they are not allowed to do. What, right now, a restaurant that is still operating, trying to make money in this crazy times, what are they allowed to do with food?
Okay, so before I say that, Mark, I want to qualify this by letting your audience know that I work for a McKean law firm, and almost 100% of our business is hospitality. So I'm an attorney there, and what I'm going to tell you now is my interpretation of what is out there. It's pretty cut and dry, I think, and it's not necessarily an interpretation of McKean law firm. So as far as food is concerned, I think that a lot of common sense has to be used. Basically, what the government is trying to do and what, everybody is trying to do is stay away from each other. So food delivery is allowed. Delivery to your car, let's say if you're in the parking lot, is allowed. And obviously deliver to your house, but also going in, picking food up, and then taking it to go. What is not allowed, as is evidenced by the latest executive order by the governor, is for people after they receive their food to congregate or tailgate in a parking lot. That is not allowed.
And so we're talking about getting food and literally heading home. You can't be eating in the parking lot, can't be eating in the patio of the restaurant, can't
right.
That's kind of the gist of it?
Exactly. I mean, the whole point is to keep the social distancing and not have people congregate. So you can't, for instance, I don't know, I'll just pick somebody like Rallies, let's say, because that's the people who always have those seats in the front. You can't go there, order a burger, and your friend order a burger, and you're just sitting around the table talking there. You should be going your separate ways.
Got it. Okay, so that seems rather cut and dry. And how about this? What is the situation now? Restaurants that have alcohol permits, what are they allowed? What are they not allowed to do?
Right. Okay, so first of all, I'll go in what they're allowed and what they're not allowed to do. First of all, everything that I just said about food also pertains to alcohol. You're not allowed to go in the restaurant and drink there. If you get alcohol at a restaurant or a brewery or an artisan distillery, you're not allowed to tailgate in the parking lot. All of those things still pertain. So let me start with the basics. There are a few different types of alcohol permits in Indiana. Some allow you to be served for carryout. Some do not allow you to be served for carryout. So, for instance, if you've got a specific type of alcohol permit on a riverfront, you ordinarily would not be allowed to be served carryout. So, and carryout is selling you, bottles of beer, let's say. Governor Holcomb has lifted that restriction. So these licenses that did not allow for carryout basically now allow carryout. You could pretty much get carryout at every restaurant, brewery, and winery, artisan distillery, et cetera, et cetera. Now, what is allowed for carryout, though, are only drinks that are served in original containers, which means that it's been sealed in a can or in a bottle or even in a growler by the manufacturer, or in the case of the growler, obviously the restaurants. I'll talk about growlers in a moment there. So it's got to be the original container. They can sell you a bottle of beer. They can sell you a canned mixed drink. They can sell you a bottle of wine, as long as all of those are in the containers that the manufacturer put them in. They can't, for instance, pour you a cup of beer. They can't pour you a mixed drink. They can't pour you a glass of wine into a styrofoam cup and you just take it home.
Okay, so they can serve you a can of beer, but they can't serve you a margarita.
Correct, unless somehow the distiller, when he produced that margarita, mixed it all together, and put it in a can. There are several artisan distillers in Indiana that do that. That's their normal business operations. So that really hasn't changed. They are allowed to do that.
So, but like my favorite Mexican restaurant by my house, I go pick up tacos tonight. They're not allowed to give me a margarita in a styrofoam cup to go.
Right. They'd only be allowed to do it if a distiller had made some kind of pre-canned or pre-bottled margarita, and they sell you the whole bottle. Now, I will say two things as far as original containers. The first thing is that restaurants are allowed to sell you a bottle of beer or even a bottle of whiskey. They can sell you the whole bottle. It'd probably be a little less cost effective for you because they might divide it into shots and it might cost a lot, but it can be done. Secondly, typically growlers or refillable containers are only refillable at restaurants that, for instance, let's talk about beer, are owned in whole or in part by a brewery. So you go to a local brewer, I don't know, let's say Scarlet Lane, for instance, let's say, and they've got a lot of different restaurants around the city. They could refill your growler normally, right? You go to Applebee's, and they couldn't refill your growler normally because they're not owned by a brewery. The governor has stated that there's an exception now where any restaurant can fill a growler. And the reason why, of course, is because you've got all these restaurants that have beer in kegs that unless he allows for that, they're just going to go old and stale, and that product will go to waste versus, a bottle of scotch that can probably sit on the shelf until this is all over.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to clarify this. And Dave, if a restaurant owner has any questions, what is the best way for them to reach out to you?
My cell phone number, which I don't mind giving out here, is 317-695-2565, or you can just call McKean Law, and I'm there, or Jeff McKean is there as well.
Thank you so much, Attorney Rothenberg. You have a great rest of the day, okay, sir?
Thank you, Attorney Lopez.